What if I told you that the name Land of the Rising Sun isn't a poetic description, but a 300-year-old political statement, a declaration of independence and ambition aimed at the most powerful empire on Earth at the time? Japan is a country many of us think we know through anime, sushi, and images of neon-drenched cities. But what we see is a meticulously crafted surface, a public face designed for a specific purpose. Beneath it lies a complex code, a system of unspoken rules, historical shadows, and profound philosophies that govern every interaction, every bow, every silent moment on a crowded train. This journey isn't about ticking off landmarks. It's about cracking that code. It's about understanding the soul of a nation that has mastered the art of hiding in plain sight. Our story begins not with geography, but with a single, audacious letter in the 7th century. The Japanese emperor, wanting to break free from the tributary system and establish his nation as an equal to the mighty Tang dynasty of China, sent a missive. Instead of addressing the Chinese emperor as a superior from a vassal state, he began, "From the emperor of the land where the sun rises, to the emperor of the land where the sun sets." It was a radical, almost reckless, diplomatic maneuver. From that moment, the name Nihon, or Nippon, meaning origin of the sun, was officially adopted. It was never about being the first place on Earth to see the sunrise. That honor belongs to a small island nation in the Pacific. It was a statement of identity, a geopolitical positioning. We are at the edge of the world, looking east, a new beginning, independent and sovereign. This ancient act of crafting a national image has never stopped. In fact, it has been perfected over centuries. It's the key to understanding modern Japan. When you first arrive, you're immediately enveloped by an almost supernatural politeness. The deep, graceful bows, the impeccable service, the serene pin drop quiet on a subway car packed shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of people. You might mistake this for genuine, heartfelt warmth. But that's only half the story, the visible part of the iceberg. You are experiencing tatemae. Tatemae is the public face, the behavior and opinions one displays in public to maintain social harmony. It is a performance, a social lubricant of incredible importance that ensures society runs without friction. The opposite, and far more hidden, is Han. One's true, private feelings and desires, which are only revealed to a trusted inner circle of family and the closest of friends. A Japanese person might fundamentally disagree with their boss's idea, but their tatemae will be to nod enthusiastically in the meeting, saving any dissent for a private conversation, if it's voiced at all. They might be utterly exhausted after a 12-hour workday, but their tatemae will be a welcoming, energetic smile for a customer. This isn't hypocrisy in the Western sense, it's a fundamental social contract, a pillar of a collectivist society. Learning to read the air, kuki wo yomu, to understand the unspoken social atmosphere and what is expected of you, is one of the most critical life skills. This social code is a language in itself, and the bow is its most nuanced vocabulary. It isn't just a greeting, it's a complex signal of status, respect, and intent. A slight 15-degree nod of the head sudashaku is a casual hello between equals. A deeper, 30-degree bow from the waist as kirade shows respect to a client or a superior. The 45-degree, deeply held bow sekaire expresses profound gratitude, a sincere apology, or the highest level of respect. The duration of the bow, the position of the hands, who initiates, who bows lower. Every detail is a sentence in a silent, hierarchical conversation that defines relationships. This social discipline is mirrored by a physical one, forged not by choice, but by the violent reality of nature. Japan lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a geological battleground. It endures over 500 earthquakes a year. For most countries, this would be a constant state of terror. For Japan, it has become a fundamental aspect of their national character. Their response is a masterclass in resilience, built not on the hope of preventing disaster, but on the certainty of mastering the aftermath. Buildings are not rigid structures fighting the earth. They are engineered to sway and dance with it, using sophisticated base isolation systems that allow them to slide on bearings during a quake. Children, from the moment they enter elementary school, participate in rigorous disaster drills with the same seriousness as a math lesson. The Jishin Sokuho, an earthquake early warning system, can send an alert to every phone in the country seconds before the most violent shaking starts, giving people precious time to take cover. When the devastating 9.0 magnitude Tohoku earthquake of 2011 hit, the fourth largest in recorded human history, the world watched in horror at the tsunami that followed. But it also watched in awe as a nation, in the face of unimaginable loss, displayed breathtaking order. There was no widespread looting. People queued for hours in neat lines for scarce supplies. This is the ultimate tatemae, a calm, orderly, and resilient face presented to the absolute chaos of the universe, rooted in the philosophy of shikata ganai. It cannot be helped. It's a stoic acceptance of forces beyond one's control, which paradoxically frees one to focus entirely on what can be controlled, the response. This national discipline and ambition, however, have a profoundly dark side. To truly understand the Japan of today, its anxieties, its foreign policy, its quiet nationalism, we must walk through the deep, unsettling shadows of its past. After being forcibly opened to the world by American warships in 1853, Japan underwent the Meiji Restoration, a transformation unlike any other in history. In less than 40 years, it morphed from a reclusive, feudal society into a modern industrial and military power, hungry for resources and recognition. In 1905, it did the unthinkable. An Asian nation decisively defeated a major European empire in the Russo-Japanese War. A shockwave of pride and ambition went through Japan, and a shockwave of fear and astonishment went through the West. This newfound power, combined with an ultra-nationalist ideology and a belief in its own racial and cultural superiority, fueled a brutal imperial expansion across Asia. This was propagandized under the noble-sounding banner of a Greater East Asia prosperity sphere, a supposed mission to liberate Asia from Western colonialism. In reality, it often replaced one colonial master with a far more ruthless one. The consequences were catastrophic. In China, the Nanjing Massacre of 1937 saw the slaughter and violation of hundreds of thousands of civilians and unarmed soldiers in a weeks-long frenzy of violence. In Korea, tens of thousands of women, many of them teenagers, were abducted and forced into sexual slavery as comfort women for the Imperial Japanese Army. In Southeast Asia, resources were plundered and local populations were subjected to forced labor and harsh military rule. And deep within occupied Manchuria, a secret that would remain largely hidden for decades was unfolding. The infamous Unit 731, a covert biological and chemical warfare research unit, conducted grotesque and sadistic human experiments on thousands of prisoners of war and civilians. They tested plague bombs, performed vivisections without anesthesia, and subjected victims to frostbite and pressure chambers, all in the name of science and military advancement. The end of World War II brought this empire crashing down in a storm of atomic fire. But the past never truly dies. Unlike Germany, which has engaged in a deep, painful, and public process of Vergangenheitsbeu, Latigungs, coming to terms with the past. Japan's relationship with its wartime history is far more complex and contentious. Yes, the government has issued official apologies and established funds to compensate some victims, like the Asian Women's Fund. And today, Japan is a pillar of global peace and a massive provider of developmental aid to the very countries it once occupied. But for many of its neighbors, these gestures ring hollow. The controversy often centers on the Asukuni Shrine in Tokyo. To the outside world, it looks like a peaceful Shinto shrine, but it honors Japan's 2.5 million war dead, including 14 convicted Class A war criminals from World War II. When Japanese prime ministers visit the shrine, it sends sparks of diplomatic outrage across China and South Korea, who see it as evidence that Japan is not truly repentant. History textbooks in Japanese schools have been a constant source of friction, with critics accusing the government of sanitizing the past, downplaying or omitting the worst of the atrocities. So while a tourist in modern Tokyo or Kyoto sees a peaceful, prosperous, and polite nation, the ghosts of the 20th century are always present, shaping its politics, its foreign relations, and its very identity in ways a visitor might never suspect. From the literal ashes of 1945, with its cities flattened and its economy shattered, Japan rose again. What followed was dubbed the Japanese economic miracle. It was a period of blistering growth from the 1950s to the 1980s that stunned the world. This was powered by a unique model of capitalism, driven by powerful corporate conglomerates known as keiretsu. These groups, like Mitsubishi, Mitsui, and Sumitomo, were vast networks of interlocking companies centered around a main bank that worked in concert to conquer global markets. The government, particularly the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, worked hand in glove with these corporations to guide industrial policy. This miracle was built on the back of a new national icon, the salaryman. Dressed in a dark suit and white shirt, he was the foot soldier of Japan Inc., fiercely loyal to his company, working grueling 12 to 15-hour days, and often sacrificing family time for the good of the collective. The concept of lifetime employment became the norm. You joined a company after university and stayed until retirement. Your company was your family. But every miracle has its price. The very work ethic that built modern Japan also created a society under immense, suffocating pressure. A new word entered the global lexicon: karoshi, or death from overwork. The pressure to conform, to succeed, to never be a burden, has led to staggering levels of stress and, paradoxically, profound loneliness in one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. The obligatory after-work drinking sessions, or nomikai, are not just for fun. They are an extension of the workday, a crucial venue for office politics and bonding, where a refusal to attend can damage one's career. This is the hidden context behind some of Japan's most curious modern phenomena. When you hear about Japan's strangest services, they are not just quirky novelties, they are symptoms of a society starved for genuine connection and release. Feeling isolated after a long week, you can visit a cuddle cafe to pay for non-sexual human contact, to have someone hold your hand or stroke your hair, need to impress your parents or boss with a life you don't have. You can hire actors to pose as your spouse, your friends, or even your children for a day, overwhelmed by pent-up stress you can't express at work. There are rage rooms, where you can pay to obliterate televisions and printers with a baseball bat. This pressure cooker environment has also given rise to a deeply concerning social phenomenon, the hikikomori. These are social recluses, often young men, who withdraw completely from society, locking themselves in their bedrooms for months, years, or even decades, unable to cope with the immense social and academic pressures. They are the ghosts in the machine of Japan's hyper-efficient society, a stark reminder of the human cost of the miracle. Underneath the rigid surface of this orderly society, a quiet but powerful revolution is underway. Japan is facing a demographic time bomb of staggering proportions. It is the oldest country in the world, with nearly 30% of its population over the age of 65. By 2050, that number is projected to approach 40%. The birth rate has plummeted to one of the lowest globally. In a statistic that perfectly captures the situation, the number of registered pets in Japan, around 20 million, has now officially surpassed the number of children under the age of 15. The consequences are already visible. Rural villages are becoming ghost towns, schools are closing, and the government is struggling to fund a pension and healthcare system on the verge of collapse. The reasons are complex. The economic stagnation that followed the miracle years, a period often called the lost decades, has made raising a child feel like an unaffordable luxury. But more importantly, social roles are being fundamentally challenged. Japanese women are among the most educated in the world. Many are no longer willing to accept the traditional path of quitting their career after marriage to become a full-time housewife, a path that often leads to what's known as the M-shaped curve of female employment, where women's participation in the workforce drops sharply during their child-rearing years and only recovers with low-paying, part-time jobs later on. They are choosing careers, financial independence, and personal freedom. They don't see marriage as an obligation, but a choice. And as many Japanese women will tell you, they often find that Japanese men, conditioned by the all-consuming work culture, lack the emotional availability and romantic initiative they desire. This has led to a fascinating trend. Around 30,000 Japanese women marry foreign men each year, seeking partners who are more expressive and willing to share domestic responsibilities. This clash between the old and the new is visible everywhere. While Japan remains a patriarchal society with one of the worst gender pay gaps in the developed world, women are carving out new spaces and definitions of success for themselves, creating a silent but seismic shift in the nation's social fabric. So, where does one find the true soul of Japan amidst these layers of code, history, and pressure? Perhaps it's found not in a single place, but in the philosophies that permeate daily life, often without a word. It's found in the spiritual syncretism of Shinto and Buddhism. Shinto, the indigenous faith, is a religion of this world. It finds divinity, kami, in nature, in mountains, rivers, trees, and even rocks. It is concerned with purity, life, and community. Buddhism, imported from the mainland, is concerned with the afterlife, the cycle of suffering, and the path to enlightenment. The Japanese see no conflict in embracing both. A common saying is that people are born Shinto, marry in a Christian style, and die Buddhist. It's a pragmatic spirituality that addresses all phases of life. It's found in the aesthetic of wabi-sabi, the profound appreciation of beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. You see it in the art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is meticulously repaired with gold lacquer. Instead of hiding the cracks, this technique highlights them, celebrating the object's history and damage, believing it is more beautiful for having been broken. The annual national ritual of Hanami, or cherry blossom viewing, is a meditation on wabi-sabi. People don't just gather to see beautiful flowers. They gather to celebrate their fleeting nature. The blossoms are at their absolute peak for only a week before they fall like snow. It's a poignant, national reminder that life, too, is beautiful and tragically short. And perhaps most importantly, it's found in the concept of ikigai, which translates roughly to a reason for being. It's the intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. This philosophy helps explain the extraordinary dedication and craftsmanship you find everywhere in Japan. It's the sushi master who has spent 50 years perfecting the art of slicing fish. It's the artisan who dedicates their entire life to making a single type of traditional paper. Their work is not just a job, it is their purpose, their path done. This is why a simple bowl of ramen can feel like a spiritual experience. The broth simmered for days, every ingredient placed with absolute intention. This is why a traditional tea ceremony, sado, with its prescribed, graceful movements, is not about drinking tea, but about finding tranquility and mindfulness in a simple act. Understanding these layers is what transforms a trip to Japan from a mere vacation into a profound exploration. If you decide to embark on your own journey, knowing the practical code is as important as the cultural one. The cost of living is high, but manageable. In central Tokyo, a small apartment can cost 1,200 a month. But in wonderful cities like Fukuoka or Sapporo, that can drop by half. The crucial thing to know is the immense upfront cost of renting. You often have to pay key money, arikin, a non-refundable gift to the landlord, and a hefty deposit shikikin, which can total up to 6 months' rent before you even get the key. Daily life is made incredibly efficient by a world-class public transport system. A monthly pass will be your best friend, costing around 100. Eating out can be surprisingly affordable and delicious, with a hearty bowl of ramen or a rice bowl costing as little as 7. But the real secret is the convenience store, or konbini. These are not just snack shops, they are lifelines, offering high-quality, inexpensive meals, bill payment services, ATMs that accept foreign cards, and even package delivery. A solo traveler or resident could live a comfortable life for about 100–500 a month. But be prepared. While Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, it operates on its own set of unspoken rules. Learn the basic etiquette for visiting a shrine or an onsen. Carry cash, as many smaller establishments don't accept cards. And above all, your greatest tool won't be a guidebook, but a sense of curiosity and observation. Watch how people interact, listen to the silences, and look for the meaning behind the gestures. Japan is not a country you simply see, it's a country you read. Every temple, every bustling intersection, every perfectly presented meal is a sentence in a much larger story of ambition, trauma, beauty, and profound contradiction. It's a story of how a nation can present a face of serene harmony to the world, while grappling with a tumultuous past and an uncertain future. It teaches us that what is left unsaid is often more important than what is spoken, and that the deepest truths are often found not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. What part of Japan's hidden code surprised you the most? Share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If this story opened up a new way of seeing Japan for you, please share this video with a fellow explorer who loves to dig deeper than the surface. And consider subscribing for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating and misunderstood places. Thank you for joining this journey.